Well, we live in a world that love to use the words love and hate, right? These two words are used pretty loosely in our society right now. For example, we're going to throw some pictures up here just for some fun. You may say that you love Lucky Charms. If you love Lucky Charms, go ahead and give a big thumbs up. I love me some Lucky Charms. You know, who's like me and saves the marshmallows for the end? That's what I want to know. But we can say we love Lucky Charms cereal, but we hate Justin Bieber. Now, let me just ask you, we've got this picture of Justin Bieber for you. I want to know what happened to JB here, because he looks kind of creepy. He looks like kind of a creeper. Please, somebody just, he used to be a heartthrob and, the greatest thing, but what in the world happened to him? I was looking at pictures of him lately and I'm like, what in the world? Why does he look like such a creeper? I mean, what happened to JB? I don't even know. Justin Bieber, God bless him. But you may say you love Lucky Charms cereal, but you hate Justin Bieber. You may say that you love Marvel movies. All right, we've got some Marvel movies here. Come on, who loves them some Marvel movies? I know I do. We have a little bit of a problem in our house. We love some Marvel movies. That's pretty great. But you may say you hate cats. Now, if you're like me, I don't like cats. Hate might be a strong word, but maybe it's too strong of a word, but I hate cats. I really just don't like them. We got a picture of a cat right here. It's like laying, big old fat daddy cat here. I don't like cats. Maybe you are a cat person. That's fine if you're a cat person. God bless you. But I don't like cats. There's a lot of things. You get the idea. We live in a love-hate culture. That's what we live in today. Post some things right now. Go ahead. Post some things right now that you either love or hate. I want to see what you have. I want to see Marvel movies are better than DC. Yes. Big thumbs up. Yes. Jordan, I'm glad that you always save the marshmallows. Snap, crackle. Some I hate cats. Yeah, same. You hate cats. All right, so post some things that you love. I see Gabe, I love Marvel. Yeah, Gianna loves Marvel. Yeah, post some other things that you love and hate. Go ahead, post it right now. I want to see what you love and hate, because love is a big deal to us in our culture, in our society. Most of the biggest movies have at least somewhat of a love story in it, right? Don't you know that a lot of songs and the songs that hit the top on the charts, they're usually there's something about love in them, because we get enthralled and we get impassioned with this idea of love. Americans spend $20.7 billion. That's billion with a B on Valentine's Day. $20.7 billion on Valentine's Day, believe it or not. In the church, we talk about how God loves you and, you should love one another. And then on the other hand, we live in a culture that loves to hate on other people. I mean, there is no greater time that people are hating on others than right now. We make fun of celebrities. We make fun of TikTok stars. I said TikTok. TikTok. We make fun of TikTok stars, or maybe YouTubers. We even hate on people in our own lives. Of course, we do that in a private text or something like that. Or we use a subtweet, in social media to hate on other people. And we may not say it out loud, but we have opinions on everything and everyone. I mean, seriously, right? Why is it everyone's got an opinion that they've got to post on social media about something with this coronavirus? Sure, we've all got an opinion, but gosh, stop hating on people. So if love is such a big deal, why does hate, and specifically hating on people, seem to be such a natural part of our lives? I want you to think about that for a second. Why does hating on people seem to be so natural? It comes natural to us. There's a lot of different ways that people can hate on others. But because we have a limited time together, we're going to talk about one that I think is not only crucial in our Christian walks, but it can be really deadly and hurtful, and that's gossip. Gossip, one of those things that we use to hate on other people, but, we kind of roll our eyes and we're like, hey, gossip, it's not that big of a deal. But hear me out for a second. Adults are just as bad as this as students. So I'm not railing on you as a student. I'm not mad at you, okay? Adults, we do this just as much. But you have to admit that when you're in junior high or high school, that gossip is a lot easier, am I right? I mean, think about it. You're in the same place all day long, right? Doesn't matter. We're not in school right now because we're all quarantined. But now you're at home and you're in the same place all day long. It's super boring, and you're talking about people. That just makes things interesting, doesn't it? When you're at school, when you're walking through the halls, it makes it interesting to talk about other people because everybody's talking all the time. It's easy to bring up the worst about people in conversations. That's the easy way out, to just bring up the worst. You may be thinking, hey, I don't talk about people all the time. Or you know what? I know people who talk about others all the time. But the truth is we all do it. We all gossip. When it comes to gossip, we all need to look in the mirror. We all need to take a look at ourselves and know that we contribute to this form of hating as much as anybody else. I mean, with all the things we have going on in our lives, with all the things that are going on with coronavirus and being quarantined, and we're searching on social media and we're scrolling through feeds, all it takes for you to hate on someone is to just share a nasty post. Or just share an article about something or someone, and you maybe are thinking, oh, I'm just sharing this so the world will see it. Guess what? You're hating on them. You are. You're contributing to it. If you're sharing some of that hateful things or the hateful speech, you're contributing to it. Why do we all have such an attraction to trash talking, gossiping, or spilling the tea? I found out that this is a new term, spilling the tea. Maybe it's an old term, but I just found out about it, okay? Call me old. It's called spilling the tea. That, truth. T stands for truth, if you didn't know. But when you're spilling the tea about somebody, because you just want to speak truth, right? You want to speak the truth. But you're spilling the tea, and guess what? It's not your truth to tell. Right now, gossip is all over the internet. We hate on people. We share posts. And I think we do this for a few different reasons. So if one of these reasons resonates with you, just go ahead and type that in the comments right now as I'm speaking. If one of them speaks to you, maybe you would comment on all of them, and because maybe all of them apply to you. But I think there's a lot of reasons why we enter into gossip and rotten talk. Number one, insecurities. We have our own insecurities. If we can point out what's wrong with other people, guess what? It makes us not feel as bad about ourselves, doesn't it? I have a few insecurities that I've started to discover about myself. I was just talking about them. My wife and I took a drive a couple days ago, delivering some gifts out to people. And I was talking about that I have some certain insecurities about myself. That, it makes me feel better when I put other people down because it makes me not feel so insecure anymore. The second one, I think there's another reason why we enter into gossip, why we love to hate on others, because it's easy bonding. We bond with people. I mean, come on, there's no better way to get in with a group than walk up and start spilling the tea, or you start, joining into that gossip, right? There's no better way. This is like bonding culture 101. Let's put this person down as I'm walking up to them, walking up to this group of people. Let's put this person down and hate on them. And now I get in with this group of friends I'm trying to get in with. There's an episode of The Office. It's Facebook, so they would shut us down if we played this clip. But there's an episode where Michael Scott is gossiping. He finds out a little bit of gossip, and he's going around the office sharing it with everybody because he feels like he's in. He wants to bond with everybody in the office, and so he wants to share this little piece of gossip. And that's kind of funny, but I know in the office world, when I was at Art Van, that's exactly what people did. You walk up to a group of people, you want to get in with them a little bit, you want to connect with them, so all of a sudden you start sharing what isn't yours to share. The next way that another big reason why maybe we enter into hating on people, it's just fun. It's entertaining, right? Maybe you can relate to that. It's just fun, it's fun to know details about other people. The other way is it gives you a competitive advantage. Some of us, we want to be the best. We want to be the best, and so we'll casually mention how not so great someone else is just to show how better we are. You say things like, hey, did you hear how bad this person did? Did you hear what this person did? If you ever start a sentence with, did you hear? You're part of the problem, okay? Just laying it out there. Did you hear who got dumped? Did you hear how she dumped him? Did you hear what he did to her? So it gives you a competitive advantage. The other reason why you might like to hate on people is it's truth. Sometimes we justify talking about other people because we want to share truth. Because we think that these people around us deserve to know the truth. We think it's okay because, hey, they brought it on themselves. So I'm just sharing what they brought on themselves. We say things like, oh, these are just the facts. Or I'm just letting them, I'm just telling them like it is. So the other way that you might hate on, other reason why you might hate on people, innocent intentions. Sometimes we just have good friends that we like to share everything with. And when that good friend is with you and you start sharing, I know I've done this before with certain friends. You start sharing and then you start sharing more and more. And pretty soon you get farther down the road and you're like, oh man, I just shared too much. Because we had innocent intentions when it started and it went too far. And that's what happens when we hate on people. Gossip, it's not just a school thing. It's not just a high school thing. It's a people thing. We all know adults, teachers, coaches who share a little too much, don't we? A parent who shares too much. I've done this. I've shared too much with my wife. I've shared too much probably with my kids. I've shared too much with a friend. And there's podcasts and YouTubers that they devote their life living now, their livelihood to sharing gossip. I mean, isn't that what TMZ is, right? Isn't their entire sole being is to figure out gossip? They're like the gossip channel. It's a weird time to be alive. It's a weird time to live. But isn't it true that although gossip is a naturally accepted part of our culture, there's something inside of us that all knows it's not very good? There's something inside of you that tugs on you, and you start talking badly about someone, and that terrible feeling that shows up inside of you. It's not fun to be the subject of someone else's gossip, right? Someone else's conversations, especially when they have details about you that that they don't deserve knowing. Especially when they have details that aren't even true. Gossip, it might be naturally accepted, but there's something inside of us that knows it hurts. It hurts when it's done to us, or it hurts us when we're doing it to other people. I know I've done this. I had a friend of mine a while back who I started sharing some personal things that he had kind of hurt me pretty deeply. And I was with a staff of mine. There were some people in the room, and they started asking me, hey, where's this person been? What's this person doing? And I started sharing too much. And all of a sudden, some things started coming out, and I started sharing too much about his life and things that he probably told me in confidence. And then later on, he came to me later. He's like, man, how did these people know about this? How did they know? And I had to put my head down, kind of put my tail between my legs and be like, man, bro, that was me. I didn't know you said that in confidence. I went too far, and maybe I did even know it. I probably did know it when I was sharing this at the time, but it hurt him. And our relationship was never the same after that. It was never the same. It hurt it. Everyone knows that gossip is a bad thing when it's about them. But in a culture like ours, a culture that loves to hate on people and ideas, how is it even possible to stop? If you've been affected by gossip, I just want you to give a raised hand or, a thumbs up or a pound or something, emoji. Give me an emoji or something. If you've been affected, if you've been hurt by gossip, if something has happened to you relating to gossip, just connect with me right now. Give me a thumbs up or a pound or something like that. Interestingly, someone who lived thousands of years ago, he had some great advice on this topic. And his name was Paul. He was one of the most famous Christians in the Bible, one of the most famous Christians to ever live. And he dedicated his life to starting churches and telling people about Jesus. And As he went around, he planted churches, and then he would send letters back to those churches to encourage them, to instruct them, to correct them. And one of those churches was in a town called Ephesus. It was a port city, and it was an ancient city that had a lot of diverse culture, a lot of diverse religions and ideas in Ephesus. And it was a town full of a bunch of people that had differences. And this type of setting is kind of fuel for gossip when you have a lot of different people and a lot of different cultures and a bunch of different ideas. And there was plenty to talk about, plenty to judge, plenty of other people that you could judge. And in fact, Paul wrote this letter in Ephesians to Jesus' followers. And because it would have been easy for them to judge everything they saw going on around the town, right? It would have been easy for them to just look at everybody else's faults and been like, yep, point out all these problems and everything. It would have been super easy for them to gossip. But Paul, here's what Paul says to these Christians in Ephesus on how to operate differently than the culture around them. Because listen, you're living in a culture right now, especially when we're all cooped up, we're all at home, and we're just scrolling through feeds and sharing stuff. We're living in a culture that loves to gossip. And Paul says to live life differently. He says, do not, this is Ephesians 4:29, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths. I'm going to stop right there. I've got more of the verse I'm going to share. But in this one sentence, Paul makes it clear that it's unwholesome talk. Now, this is a good verse that a lot of pastors, a lot of parents, and for good reason, they'll say, hey, this is a good verse to point to for not cussing, not using bad language. And that might be true, yes, but Paul, I think, is talking to a lot bigger problem than just saying a cuss word, which, yes, can be unwholesome talk. But it means it doesn't mean just you shouldn't cuss when he's talking about unwholesome talk. See, because in the Greek word, the Greek for unwholesome, one of the meanings means rotten. So if you see, Paul could be saying, hey, do not let any rotten talk come out of your mouth. And that, my friends, is a good word to describe gossip. Gossip, rotten, is rotten. Gossip is talk that rots. Man, that's a tweetable moment right there. You can type that in and save that for later. Gossip is talk that rots. Trash talking or gossiping, it rots friendships, relationships, and reputations. I want you to hear me in this. Unwholesome talk that Paul is talking about, he's meaning rotten talk. And talk that is rotten, gossiping or trash talking, it rots friendships, relationships, and reputations to the core. Think about what happens with things that rot, right? It starts to become smelly. You pull out that rotten thing in the back of the fridge and you're like, oh man, and you pull that thing open, right? And it's got a smell and a stench to it. That's what gossip is it's rotten. This is what it produces in our lives. So you may not even notice it, but see, just like that thing that you pull out in the back of the fridge and you're like, oh, this smells. When people get around, others that gossip, they're looking at you and saying, oh man, this smells. This is gross. We don't want people to we don't want to give off a rotten vibe, do we? When we talk about people or participate while someone else does, we're actually contributing to the rotting of some of the things that matter most to us and people around us. When we participate in gossip or trash talk or hating on people, we're contributing to rotting some of the things that matter most to us. And in fact, so when we look at Mark 7:15, we were going through at Journey Life Church, the book of Mark. We just finished that up. And I love this. I had to go back to Mark 7:15 because it talks about the unwholesomeness inside of you. It's not now this is Mark 7:15 in the New Living Translation. It's not what goes into your body that defiles you. You are defiled by what comes from your heart. This is the indication of what's rotting inside of you is that unwholesome talk, that rotting junk. That's what's going to defile you, is what's coming out. More than the words you speak, it's about the motivation that causes you to say certain things or participate in certain conversations. What's your motivation behind that? Really, when you meant to say that, when you were sharing that bit of information or you're spilling the tea with someone, what's your motivation? Stop for a second and think, what's my motivation behind this? And then back to Paul here. He says, In Ephesians here, 4:29, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. That it may benefit those who listen. That's what should come out. And then in verse 30, and do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God, with whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Get rid of all bitterness, rage and anger, brawling and slander. Slander, another word for like gossiping when you're talking about other people, putting them down, along with every form of malice. And then it says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. In other words, if you chose to put the needs of others ahead of your own, when you think about who a person is instead of judging them or talking bad about them or hating on them, you'll stop yourself from gossiping because you thought about the needs of others. You'll think about them before you speak about them. I want you to do that. I want you to right now think about somebody before you start talking about someone. Before you post that, before you share that, before you comment on that, I want you to think about that person. I want you to think about, even if it's that person that people hate, think about that person before you speak about them. If you chose to build others up, care about their needs, and help them, you'll choose words that benefit them instead of words that bash them. I'm going to say that again because that's really good. If you choose to build others up, care about their needs, and help them, you'll choose words that benefit instead of words that bash them. Man, that's really good. I looked up some verses in Proverbs. Here's some. Proverbs 16:28. A perverse person stirs up conflict. A gossip separates close friends. Proverbs 20:19, a gossip betrays a confidence, so avoid anyone who talks too much. Titus 3:1-2, remind the people to be subject to rulers and authorities, to be obedient and be ready to do whatever is good, to slander no one. That's gossiping, putting others down. To slander no one, to be peaceable and considerate and always be gentle toward everyone. Man, I get it. It's a lot easier said than done, especially when you want to lash out. In a world where hating on people is literally a pastime. It can be a career path, for goodness sake, for a lot of people. It's a career path for TMZ, right? It's hard to be the guy or girl who chooses wholesome instead of unwholesome. Because it's also listen, it is one of the best decisions you can make because what you say about others says a lot about you. Man, you need to write that down. You need to think about that for a second. What you say about others says a lot about you. Even if it's just to your family, even if it's just to your brother or your sibling or your parent, what you say about others, man, says a lot about you. I know I lately have not been doing very good at this. I've had a lot to say about others. And I got to think about that. Man, you know what that says? There's something wrong inside of me that I have to check. Think about it. You know people who trash talk their friends, who spread rumors, or always have a mean joke to make about somebody, right? You know those people. When you think about that person, you think about that part of them, don't you? When you think about that person, do you think about that person in a good light? It seems that hating on people is what they're about. And probably, you know people who are the opposite. They refuse to hate on people. They always speak good about people. They're always, sharing. They're always being positive, right? They're not gossiping. Chances are when you think about them, you think of someone who's positive. So when it comes to your conversations, as I start to wrap this up, I want you to think about your conversations. It's really a question of what you say, of what to say or not to say. I want you to think about your conversations. Here's the question you ask. What do you really want to be all about? What do you want to be all about? Do you want to be known for someone who loves others? Or do you want to be a hater? Someone who trashes people or builds them up? The good news is you and I, we have a choice. You get to decide who you want to be and what you want to be known for. You do. The gossip, they don't get to be known for what you are known for. They're going to get theirs, all right? As they gossip, it's going to rot their relationships, their reputations. Don't join in, because you're going to join in that same filth. You're going to pull out that rottiness. You're going to jump into that rot, that compost. I think of that. Just think of a compost when it's rotting. Do you want to jump into that with someone else? No. You have a choice. For those of you who follow Jesus, now listen, when you've chosen to follow Jesus and you've given God the power. Okay? God has the power for you to be different. You can be different. He wants you. He wants his people to be known for things that are different. He wants you to be known for love, not hate. Just because gossip is fun, it's normal, it might be kind of hilarious, it doesn't mean it's worth participating. Think of it this way. Let love be what you're about. Now, not love in like we just love everyone. I just love all people. Like that kind of a hokey, not head in the cloud, like, Cupid sitting in a cloud. Not that kind of like weird love. But let love be what you're about. Of all the things you can be known for, let's start with a thing that Jesus was was known for the best, and that was love. He laid down his life for his friend. He laid down his life for you and me. That's what he's known for, is the greatest gift of all, the greatest love you could ever give, and that's laying your life down for somebody. This starts way before, think about this starts way before the words that are coming out of your mouth. It starts with us deciding to care about other people no matter what they do. This is hard for me. Can I just be honest? This is hard for me. Is it hard for you? Come on, if it's hard for you, can you just say, it's hard for me? Just let me know that I'm not the only one, that it's hard to care about people no matter what they do. Because I've had people do some really bad, nasty things to me. I'll bet you have too. Okay, just please, help me out. Tell me that I'm not the only one. Just tell me that, you're not the only one, Pastor Ben. Because when we care about people, and what they do, when we care about them at the core, it's not going to matter what they do. We all have a way of deciding this. None of us would ever admit, but deep down we sometimes decide what to say by answering these questions. You might decide what to say with somebody else, someone else you know. You answer this question: will it make me look funny? Will it make me look cool? Will it make me look smart? Is it mostly true? See, these are filters that lead to unwholesome and rotten words. Before we know it, something rotten is spreading in our relationships. And that rot starts to smell and it starts to stink. Because we were looking at those questions like, will it make me look? Will it make me look this way? Because it's all about me. Here's the better question. I really like the word that Paul gives us because it ties perfectly to what we should be about. The better question that we should be asking ourselves when we're going to talk about somebody is this: is it helpful? Or is this helpful? And what I'm going to say right now, with me saying this, is this helpful? I know my wife says this all the time. That's why I had to bring this up. That's why we're talking about this right now. Because she'll look at me and be like, that wasn't helpful. And I'm like, I know, but I just had to say, no, it wasn't helpful. It wasn't helpful. Before you and I say anything, we should use this question: is this helpful? In fact, we can put it into practice immediately. All we need to ask is, will these words be helpful? Will they build others up? Will they make someone's life better? If I share this, if I repost this, if I subtweet this, if I send this out, is this going to make someone's life better? When we use that filter of being helpful, it doesn't matter if the story is true, doesn't matter if the joke is funny, or the tea is particularly good. If it's helpful, if it's not helpful, it's not worth your words. Hear me in that. If it's not helpful, it's not worth your words. If we chose to be all about love and use this filter, the words we should and shouldn't use become really, really clear. Imagine for a moment if everyone on this live or anybody else who's watching this later on the replay, if you chose to let love be what we're about, imagine what would happen in your school. Imagine what would happen with your friends. Just the people from this church, just the people from this youth group, just the people from real life. Imagine if you chose to let love be what you're about. What would that do to the people around you? And refusing to judge, to hate, to talk bad about, to gossip, to have that unwholesome talk rot out our lives. Imagine if we chose to be people who use words to help and build others up. This would have an impact literally on every class that you're in. It would have an impact every year that you're in school. It would have an impact right now. And it would change, hear me in this, it would change the way people view Christians. If we just focused on what we're about, and that is love, and let that be what we speak. Imagine if Christians were known for being all about love instead of hate. What would that do in your school? What would that do to your reputation? How much more appealing would it be for others to follow God because you chose to not let unwholesome talk come out of your mouth? Imagine how much more magnetic the church or real life, this youth group, would be. Imagine how much more magnetic it would be if we were more about love instead of hate. How much more people around us would be willing to get to know Jesus if we acted like the thing he said was most important, love. And if we acted like that was actually important to us. All of us, we get to decide whether we'll be known for being about love or being about someone who loves to hate or loves to gossip. Let love be what we're about. So here's your next step. Here it is. You might want to write this down. Make a video about how you reached out, how you served, how you loved somebody or showed gratitude towards somebody in your family or someone around you. Okay? I want you need to think about a way that you can reach out to somebody. You can show love to somebody instead of hate. You can talk nice to somebody. You can show them gratitude in a real and tangible way. So maybe for you, that's waking up in the morning and making your parents breakfast and just saying, hey, thank you so much for the food in our house. Boom, I made you breakfast this morning. Or maybe for you, it's like, hey, I'm going to clean up the dishes tonight and put them away in the dishwasher, and I'm just so grateful for all you do. I want to serve you today. And maybe for you it is like you're going to go give a neighbor some food, or you're going to drop off some food to the food pantry or something. You're going to show love to somebody or something. So I want you to think about what you're going to do and use it as an opportunity to build someone up, about showing gratitude or love to somebody, and then make a video about it. So this means you have to actually serve someone and love on someone, and then post a video about the reaction. You don't have to, I don't want you going out like, ooh, look at me, boom, I'm giving to people, ooh, look at me, I'm so cool, look, I'm giving. No. I want you to post later about your reaction of what happened in that. So what did you do? And then how did they receive it? So in the example of like you made breakfast for a parent, you know, all you would do is you would post a video and you'd be like, hey, I made breakfast for my mom because I wanted to show her that I appreciated her and I loved her. And man, she was blown away and she took me out for ice cream later. What? Like that was amazing, right? I don't know what the reaction would be, but I want you to post a video about what you did to show gratitude or love to somebody in your family, or maybe it's someone that you can social distance still show love to. And I want you to post a video about what you did and their reaction to it. It can be 15 seconds long. It doesn't have to be long or complicated, all right? And those that do post that in the comments here afterward, okay, just go to this video, find this video, post it in the comments. That's how easy it is, all right? And those that do, you'll have a prize waiting for you, okay? I'll get you, I'll come up, we'll have some prizes for you. I'll give away something. I don't know how many of you are going to do it, but like last time it was only one. So hopefully there's a lot more of you that take this next step. That's your next step assignment for this week, all right? So thank you so much for listening. I hope that you heard my heart tonight and my honesty tonight, because I fall into this same problem with you, but let's be people that let's be people who let love be what we're about. Thank you so much.